What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined by my dad, Sean, and today, reactions to the classics. We are up to the year 2016 as we are counting down the top 10 albums of the year, doing our draft. If you have just joined us, man, we have these album drafts all the way dating back to the year 1965. So go check out the specific years you want to. And man, 2010's been a good decade so far as we now get to the second half of it.
And if you haven't joined us before, the way it works, today I get first pick, Trey gets second, third, I get fourth and fifth, and so on. Also, we need your help, man. Let us know who you think won this thing in the comments below. And also, if you want to give your top 5 or top 10. If you're a patron, don't forget, one of these albums is going to be chosen to be nominated for our album listening party that we do once a month on YouTube. And if you're not a patron, check out the Patreon link below. We would greatly appreciate it. All right, Trey, you ready for me to kick this off?
Yeah, you get first pick this year. What you going with?
Well, I'm going with a man that is no stranger to these album drafts, Mr. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Skeleton Free, 16th studio album, was recorded over an 18-month period. Now, Nick's 15-year-old son tragically had died from an accidental fall. The songs were almost all written. Some of them were recorded, but he went back and kind of ad-libbed in the subsequent recording sessions. So we have themes of death, loss, personal grief. They don't ever directly address Arthur's death. Now, Ghosteen comes out in 2019. I'm looking forward to that. I think that might. I'm not sure on that. But 95 on Metacritic, which is crazy. Jesus Alone, I think, is the highlight. But there's only 8 songs, which is odd for Nick. 39 minutes. Has some electronica and ambient music. But I'll tell you what, man. I don't know how many guys are better than Nick Cave after we've gone through all these album drafts. I mean, seriously, this guy can do any style of music, and his writing is top-notch. And he's just not well-known at all, here in the States at least. But this guy is in the top 5 for me of individual artists ever. I know he's with the Bad Seeds here, but I mean, a 30-year career, just unbelievable.
No, man. It's ridiculous how much quality there is. Like you said, that in different styles. I Need You is one of my favorite tracks off this record and favorite in his catalog. And yeah, just such an emotional type record, knowing the backstory. It just again shows that, hey, he still has his fastball even later on in his career, which is so tough in the music biz.
It is, and your number one choice was my second. I thought there were 2 albums that really stood out for me of all of them, and this was the other one. So
yeah, man, 2016 for me, one of the great years of all time.
It was really good
for my personal taste, and I going with my first pick. Got to go Frank Ocean with Blonde. We're still here, sitting almost in 2023, waiting for the follow up from Frank, man. But only his second record coming off of Channel Orange, recorded at a couple famous studios you might have heard of, the Electric Lady Studios in New York and Abbey Road Studios.
I've heard of that
over the pond. Frank, really diverse in his musical taste. Brian Wilson, definitely a big influence on this record right here. Even samples the Beatles and White Ferrari, Here, There, and Everywhere, Little Melody, which is kind of cool.
Cool.
Pitchfork named this the album of the decade. And I mean, this features a lot of guitar, keyboard loops. The production on this is stellar, one of the best you're gonna hear. Frank really manipulates and pitches his voice at certain times, and the themes really surround his masculinity, emotions, heartbreak, and how you recover from that. Truly creative record that I think is going to be standing as a true classic as the years and decades go by. My favorites: White Ferrari, Self Control, Solo, Pink and White, Ivy, Nikes. There's so many to choose.
Nikes is really good.
So many to choose. But my next pick going to be Radiohead, coming with a Moon-Shaped Pool. Again, their most recent release at the time of this recording. Do they got a 10th album in store? We'll have to wait around and find out. Tom York, Johnny Greenwood still rocking with the smile, but been pretty quiet on the Radiohead front since then. But this went to number 1 in the UK. Maybe their most morose work yet, but it's just beautifully produced art rock, chamber rock, a lot of great string arrangements by the London Contemporary Orchestra that the great Johnny Greenwood put together. And many of the songs though on this one that are interesting because they date back all the way back. Even Kid A, True Love Waits was been played at their concerts back in the 90s, but never officially here. I think that this one, came out of the gate as being really acclaimed, and it's one that continues to grow on me the more I listen to it. So Burn the Witch, Daydreaming, and True Love Waits are highlights for me.
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it, but I mean, I only listened to it one time. I'm so hot and cold on Radiohead. Some of it I love, some of it I don't. But my next pick, Jeff Rosenstock.
Great pick.
Let me tell you what, man, this guy is a beast, and I've already listened to his next album, and I can tell you this guy's a beast, man. He's tremendous. Second studio album, 17 songs, only 37 minutes. It's a great ride. His most critically acclaimed album, USA Today, called it the album of the year.
Wow.
It addresses themes including urban gentrification. In other words, taking an urban area, if you don't know what that means, and tearing it all down and building the nice office buildings and apartments and totally changing the area. Some part of that is good and a lot of part of that is bad, right? So economic inequality, police brutality in the United States. And it's a heavy album, but if you just listen to it, not paying attention to the lyrics, you're not going to pick up on it. Festival song is great, but it's 17 songs. There's a lot of great songs on here.
Yeah, and I really like what he does. He kind of borrows from the second side of Abbey Road at the end, where he has just this long medley that goes together. And man, that's probably my favorite stuff that he's done in general. And definitely would have been on my list, Dad, if you had not stolen it from me.
Well, I think I probably stole something else from him because these guys are one of your favorite bands of all time. Touché Amoré, Stage 4. For two reasons.
Speaking of heavy listens.
There's a lot of heavy listens this month. I'm just telling you, man. Fourth studio album, but it's also the stage 4 of Jeremy Boehm's mom. She had stage 4 cancer and everything he went through from that. 84 on Metacritic. But this album, man, it's going to sound more hardcore when you're listening to it. Although way less hardcore than some of the other Touché. You're going to be able to speak that more than me, but it's tough, man. It's a tough listen. Flowers and You, the very first song, which I'd actually done on a countdown for one of our other patrons, Slate said, it's tough, man. Skyscraper with Julian Baker. I mean, this album, I don't know if I'd ever listen to it again, but it's just freaking great. But yeah, I mean, you can speak to this way more than me.
I saw their tour. I've seen Touché 3-4 times now. I've actually met Jeremy a couple times as well. Super nice guy, and a great performer as well, and not afraid to put his real life experiences and pain out there, for the world to kind of take in. Man. But a lot of people resonate that, I know, in similar situations, and I definitely would recommend you go check it out. Don't be kind of scared of maybe some of the harsher vocals on this.
It's so good, man.
It's great. So I love that pick right there. And one of Jeremy's big influences might be coming up for you later on in your list. But going now to my third pick, the great Sturgill Simpson.
This would have made my list.
Sailor's Guide to Earth. Sturgill appeared on a previous list for me, but this record's even better, man. His third album, it's unique, Dad, because this blends like country with some soul.
It's hard to explain.
And, a lot of buzz for this. It won the Grammy for Best Country Album in that year. Sturgill's voice really exudes that power, but also that warmth that'll, I think, even kind of captivate and draw in the biggest country music haters. I'm not a big country music
I'm not
guy,
either.
But dude, the opener, Welcome to Earth, Polywog, is, been on repeat for me. Even got a cover of Nirvana's In Bloom on
That was
here.
good, dude. That was interesting. I was shocked to hear that on here.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that, being a big Nirvana fan. And then Call to Arms is great, too. And then my fourth pick, he's appearing again, Kanye West, The Life of Pablo, his 7th record right here. This has an interesting backstory, and I'd compare it almost to like a White Album from the Beatles, because there are so many different types of snippets and styles on here. This record I wasn't that high on when it first came out, but now it's it might be top 3 or 4 Kanye for me. It was released exclusively on Tidal at the time. And then afterwards, Kanye went and edited a lot of these tracks and updated it before releasing it to other streaming services. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen that more in the years that have gone on, because everything's so digitalized now. Hey, maybe this didn't go 100% how I wanted. I'm surprised we haven't seen artists kind of tweak that. But Kanye did. This debuted at number 1, made it the first album to top the chart primarily through streaming. Man, it's just, it's quite a unique listening experience due to all the different styles on here. Ultra Light Beam, Father Stretch My Hands, 30 Hours, St. Pablo are going to be my favorites.
Got a song reaction, Ultra Light Beam up. I didn't really, this would have made my honorable mention. I mean, I did not really, I didn't love this album. And, I've loved a lot of other of Ye's stuff, but I mean, I still thought, for what it is, I mean, he's so good. So even if you don't like him personally, you got to go listen to his music. All right, next up for me, I got Bon Iver, 22 A Million, their third studio album. They take some time between their studio. Recorded in lead member Justin Vernon's April-based studio in Wisconsin, a hotbed for music production. The album marks a major shift in the band's sound, incorporates elements of electronic music and hip-hop production influenced by, here you go, we didn't even do this on purpose, Justin's previous work with Kanye West. Most of the lyricism concerns their rise in popularity and how Vernon's relationship with the world has changed as a result. Everybody wants to be famous, Trey, until they are. And then you can't become unfamous. It also received nominations for Best Alternative Music Album and Best Recording Package at the 2017 Grammys. In 2019, Pitchfork and Rolling Stone included in their list of best albums of the decade at 91 and 47, respectively.
All right.
87 on Metacritic. Another one that I really enjoyed at 10 songs, 34 minutes.
Yeah, this one didn't work for me as a whole.
It doesn't for a lot of people because it is a lot different.
But I do respect that, they're trying something different. Even if it didn't work for me, there are some weird type of, vocal manipulations and, instrument manipulations and effects on here. But hey, I'd rather somebody swing creatively and miss in my eyes than just kind of be safe and mail it in.
Right, I got you. Now, I'll finish this thing off with... Guys, 3 of my 5 albums are tough, right? Tough listens. Cave, Touché, and this one, Leonard Cohen, You Want It Darker. 14th studio album, last one released during his lifetime, released 17 days before he died. Focuses on death, God, and yes, humor. He had toured extensively between 08 and 13 because it's another story because his manager stole all his money, which is horrible, and he wanted to leave something behind. He began to suffer multiple fractures of the spine, among other many physical problems. Due to his mobility issues, is recorded in the living room of his home, and then he sent it by email to the other musicians so they could add on. He said his condition helped him eliminate any distractions during the recording of the album. He said, quote, "In a certain sense, this particular predicament is filled with many fewer distractions than other times in my life, and actually enables me to work with a little more concentration and continuity than when they had the duties of making a living, being a husband, being a father." That is the thing, man. When you're physically afflicted, it does tend to focus you. 92 on Metacritic. Favorite tracks, the title track, Leaving the Table and Traveling Light. Let me tell you, he really addresses death in, a humorous way, but in just a real way. Like, you can feel that this guy's close to death, even if you didn't know that because of Leonard's voice, he's like a Dylan, he's like a Neil, he's like somebody who doesn't have this great voice. So it ages fine, right? You don't go, oh man, this guy's got to be on his, like, his voice was fine in this. Did you listen to this?
Yeah, I did a couple years back.
Okay.
It's been a while since but I enjoyed it. It would have been on my honorable mention. And yeah, it's Jeremy Blums of Touché Amoré. Leonard Cohen's his favorite artist of all time. So,
wow. Okay.
It's kind of interesting how it works together. But it is kind of unique whenever you have these guys who know that the end might be, approaching.
It is, man. Cash did it.
Yeah. And, Bowie, of course, who, came out with Black Star this year. But I love that pick. And speaking of Black Star, it was in the running at the end for me, but I went with Beyonce's Lemonade record, her 6th album, went to 1 all over the world. This was accompanied by a 60-minute film, making it her second visual record coming off of her self-titled a few years prior that I know you picked. And
I like the self-titled better than this one, even though I like this one.
And I honestly still might land on liking the self-titled a little more.
We're in the minority there. But
this, themed around her journey after Jay-Z's infidelity, which he talks about in the next year's record 444, but it also incorporates a lot of, how generational and racial concepts affect this as well. Has some talks from her dad and snippets in there, which was really cool. And a lot of different genres as well, Dad. It's not just your straight up kind of alternative R&B type of thing. We had some country in there, some rock elements, hip hop. I was really impressed by the all-in-all production with this. And so my favorites are Freedom, Holds Up, Daddy Lessons, and Formation. But we have a ton of honorable mentions as well. I'll let you kick it off.
Yeah, I got a few, and you got several. I've listened to a lot of yours that you have on your own. I got Drive By Truckers, American Band. If you don't like political albums, I'd steer clear of this one. Conor Oberst on his own, Ruminations, really good album. Pup, The Dream Is Over. It's really good. Blossoms, they're self-titled. And Trey, I'll let you pick it up.
Yeah, man. And these next 5-6 records would make for most years, but just didn't. I got to mention Kendrick's Untitled, Unmastered, which are, kind of B-sides that were recorded from the To Pimp a Butterfly. So, some people don't count it as an official record, so I kind of left it to the side. But that is great. Car Seat Headrest, Teens of Denial. That's my favorite project from them. Great indie rock right there. The Avalanches on Fire Again with Wildflower.
Yeah, they're good,
fantastic use of sampling. Bowie's Black Star, as I noted, probably going to be on most people's list.
It probably is.
I thought thought it was a really strong effort, just in one of the great years for me. Denzel Curry, one of the best pure rappers of the past decade, with his release Imperial, Death Grips, Bottomless Pit, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Nonagon Infinity, a very unique album where it just is an entire loop, like, front to back, and every song just seamlessly loops. They're a quite unique and prolific band, psychedelic to a T. Mitski's Puberty 2, Anderson .Paak, Malibu.
That was a good album.
Love that one. Rihanna's Anti.
That's pretty good.
Beyonce's sister, Solange, with
pretty
a
good.
seat at the table. A Tribe Called Quest, my favorite from them, which is a steaming hot take. But we got it from here. Thank you for your service. Danny Brown's Atrocity Exhibition, and Childish Gambino's Awaken My Love rounds out the honorable mentions for us today here. And of course, we want to know from you, who do you think got the dub from us? And are there any other records? I know we listed a lot that are at the top of your list. Be sure to let us know that. And we'll be back next week with 2017. But I guess, Dad, that wraps it up.
That's it, man.
And until next time, thanks for watching. Happy listening, and we will see you.